Picture this. You're in your mid to late 20s, you haven't left your hometown. Whether you graduated college and you came back and you're working a job nearby, or you just graduated high school and went into the job force right after to retail or whatever, and you're still in your hometown, chances are you're probably pretty depressed or maybe even secluded and inexperienced. You might be reminiscent on the days of high school or reminiscent on the days of college. Like, oh, those were my glory days. That's how you pretty much attach your identity to a sports team. I'm not going to go off on that tangent, but I just want to say the premise of this video is the importance of traveling, and I've had the privilege to travel so I can speak on my own experience, and how to travel for free pretty much, or at least travel pretty inexpensively if you don't really have many commitments going on right now, or if you're just a young man who has a lot of time and energy but not a lot of money. So here is pretty much what I did. My name is Stan, and I'm going to tell you why traveling gives you experience and how to travel for free, or at least inexpensive. Before I go on to this topic of conversation, I want you to do an internal audit, a self-audit on yourself, right? I want you to look into yourself. What commitments do you have right now? And be honest with yourself. What do you have going on in your life that you feel is holding you down, holding you back, making you location dependent on where you're at right now? Now, you might answer, well, you know, I have a 6-month lease on my apartment, or I have an apartment, or I have a girlfriend, or I got a car and it's registered here, and I have all my addresses tied up to here on my, all my billing information, whatever. Yeah, so just take a minute and think to yourself, what do you have holding yourself back? And whether it's a job or whether it's college, just take a minute. Now, unless you are struggling financially and you have people dependent on you, chances are a lot of what you said is pretty much crap, in the sense of a lot of it doesn't necessarily matter in the long term unless it is serious. And let's say you have a mortgage, that's pretty serious. So let's say you have a wife and you have a kid in your early 20s. That's I wouldn't say concerning. Good for you, congratulations. But that's pretty much means that you're going to be held down for a while. And what I'm about to tell you is being young and not being held down by anything is by far the greatest feeling I've ever had as a young man. And what I'm going to tell you right now does require a little bit of commitment, but compared to everything else later on in life, this is minuscule. Pretty much, I'm not going to hold back. Main thing that has allowed me to travel for free is the military. And I'm not talking active duty, I'm talking reserves. And I'm also going to talk about my job as a sailor. And for the premise of this, when I say sailor, I mean commercial sailor, not active duty Navy. Like, I work on container ships or stuff of that nature, ferries, whatever. And I'm not going to include like jobs that take a lot of commitment. Like, obviously, like, let's say, oh, here's this hack to travel the United States. First, you got to go to training for 8 months for your CDL, and then you get to travel around the United States in this tractor trailer. I'm not going to go into that tangent, just like I'm not going to go into the commercial sailor side of things, because I went to school for 4 years for that. And yeah, now I do 6 months a year, and it's like, I'd say 95% of the time I'm on a ship. 5% of the time I get to travel to cool places as part of my job, not necessarily with the Navy or with the Navy Reserves, which is what I'm in. Now, if we were to completely isolate the Navy or Reserve component, or reserves in general, I'm just going to be honest, it is great. Especially if you're young and you don't have a lot of commitment. Forgot the main difference between like the types of reserves, but there's IRR, Inactive Ready Reserve, and CELRES, or Selected Reserve. I forgot which one I am, but that's all right. So the way that I do my reserve duty is I'm required to do 2 weeks a year to pay back my school, but that's nothing, whatever. I can choose pretty much however long I want to go out on like a duty station and where that duty station is. Like, let's say I want to go to Portland, Oregon for 3 months, or Houston, Texas for like 2 months, or whatever. It doesn't matter. I have the freedom of choice. And that's the beauty of reserves. Now, of course, I am pretty sure it's a 8-year commitment if you sign up. I'm not entirely sure. So I'll link resources down, and also link other people's experiences with it that haven't had the best experience, but that's besides the point. Obviously, if after your self-audit and you realize that you don't have a lot of commitments, or even if you have a lot of commitments that don't necessarily amount to anything and you can just get up and go, look into this. I mean it. And the reason why I say you should look into this is because traveling, it throws you into different cultures. Like, experiencing the Eastern culture has been drastically empowering in a sense. like going to East Europe and especially East Asia, it was pretty cool to see like different family cultures and ways of life and pretty much break away from this Western culture that is pretty degenerative and getting thrown into these cultural situations that you know might not know, and you might even get thrown in some dangerous situations that are pretty cool. You know, it's exhilarating to say the least. So you gain experience in that perspective. You get to also be with other people that you've never met from different backgrounds in the United States. But just being an American, you get to bond over, for example. Like, there are kids from, like, the deep South. I'm from the North. Deep South, very, very religious, you know, that I've got to travel with. And we get to be buddies, which is pretty cool. Also got to be with, like, the California hippies that were pretty cool that were also serving. So that's my perspective on it. Get to travel, especially when you're young. You don't have anything tying you down. But also another benefit to the reserves is you get some education paid for. So when you finally decide you want to come back and you don't want to do any more duty stations, unless of course there's like a big war going on and they call you up, whatever, you know, you have your school provided for the most part, depending on the GI Bill and the type of commitment that you do based on how much time you spend activated. I could also go into the benefits of the National Guard. National Guard is a little bit more of a commitment because you have monthly drills, whatever. Yeah, you also get to travel for that, but you know, it's a lot more of a commitment in that regards. So I want to make this video quick. I got through my bullet points. Brotherhood, obviously, you get to be with other different people around the country. Reserves are pretty much like the least amount of commitment and you get to travel. So it's a good bang for your buck, to say the least. Definitely look into it. And my fast just ended, so I'm going to eat my breakfast. So with that being said, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, just put it in the comments. I'll be glad to answer. And check out some of the other resources I provided. Questions about reserves, whatever. Go check out the website. Definitely try it out. Travel when you're young. That's the best advice I could give for anybody. It builds up competency and it makes you more confident. So with that being said, please check out some of my other videos if you are interested. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time, and have a nice day.